young thinkers. In this essay, the writer talks about the educational system, educational pedagogy of the 21st century. Means how we take, how we take the school education, how we define the examination, how we define the classroom face-to-face learning, and how we define the skill, or how we'll define virtual learning. All these things that writer try to talk here regarding the context of South Asia especially, and the context of the whole world as well. Okay, that is the main thing. I have shared this slide. I think you have seen those slides. Have you seen the slide or not? Yes, you have seen. Okay, these are the
Yes, sir.
objectives. These are the objectives that I have written, that to at the end of the lesson, you have to learn those things. Means you have to speak about the concept of education in the present context. Means in the 21st century, present context means 21st century people, how they define education, how they take education. Then especially school education and college education. Then you have to able to compare the education system of Nepal with the globe. Means what is our education system and what is the world's education system, universal education system. You have to compare and then differentiate between examination oriented education and skill based education. Means you have to able, you have to define, you have to able to define the examination oriented education system. What is it? And what is skill based education system? What skill based education system does, and what is the examination oriented education system does. You have to differentiate that, and then write an essay about it. At the end of this lesson, you have to able to write about the education system of Nepal and the globe, Nepal as well as abroad. These are the main things of the today's class. Then, this essay especially is focusing on approach of young learners towards examination. Means today's learners, writers, she says that uh, in her time, in her childhood days, they used to study too much in the classroom. Means they used to engage in the face-to-face learning in the class. The teacher used to be the leader in the class, and whatever our teachers used to say, and they used to follow. The teacher used to give them competency based education. Means underlying knowledge that teachers used to convey, and the students, they used to memorize those concepts in their mind for the examination, and they used to take part in the examination and get certificate. That she share her ideas from her childhood, and still now also present 21st century's teachers also, they adopt the same system. They adopt the same exam oriented system. Students also follow they are following this exam oriented system, in which writer does not agree. Though she got exam oriented education because of the teaching pedagogy of that time, because of the parental desire, because of the school's desire, teachers desire. Now she got that bad education system. She engaged in that bad education system in her childhood, but now she is aware about that. Now she is grown up, she is matured, and she realized that the exam oriented teaching and learning does not have any value, which does not get any meaning, because examination oriented teaching and learning does not make us critical, does not make us creative. It just we memorize and write the exam in the examination, and after finishing the examination we forgot that, we do not apply that in our real life, so that it does not have any value. Means exam oriented education have not any value, she says that. So in her childhood days, school days, there was underlying concept of education, garner knowledge, a lack of dedication, rather craze to pass the exam. Means what is underlying concept of education and garner knowledge? Means the knowledge at that time was for not the skill, not to not for the critical and creative, not for the reasonable things. It was just for to pass the examination. Okay, and knowledge, the concept of knowledge was not broad, it was very narrow at that time. This is the thing writer shares here in this essay. Then pursuit of earning degree, means exam oriented, and exam oriented learning only, it makes the person very busy in preparing for the examination. It makes the person busy for the examination, and pursuit of earning degree, means after getting the after taking the examination, after taking part in the examination, writer the student always guides to get the degree, and unable to read academic materials. Means in exam oriented learning, what happens, students only memorize the things and gets the certificate after passing the examination, and does not have any other materials, the person cannot read and write other things beside the content, beside the note. Okay, so because of this exam oriented learning, student they lack critical and creative thinking. That I have already used this word, critical and creative thinking. Means if we have skill based knowledge, skill oriented learning, if we have vocational learning, and if we follow the resources, materials out of the course, and reference book if we read, then if we read for the knowledge, not for the degree, then what happens, the person become creative, person become critical, person become reasonable. Whereas exam oriented learning does not make the person reasonable. Exam oriented knowledge, okay, does not make the person critical creative and critical. So that is the another thing. And then writers see, writers of this essay talks that because of the lack, it leads to the lack of observation and decision making. Means if you are just reading for the examination, then you cannot make decision of your life. You cannot solve the problem of your life. You cannot observe the thing. You cannot judge the other people properly. Means if you are not creative, if you are not critical, how can you judge the other people? How can you say that this is right and this is wrong? How can you question the things? Means in exam oriented learning, students they only focus on memory based system. They memorize, they do not know that is right or wrong. Okay, they read the guest paper, or they read the notes provided by the teachers, and they read the notes which they get from the internet and other resources. Then they memorize, and then they do not know, they do not discriminate either the note they are using is that is authentic, that is good, or that is bad. They do not know. So that these are the things that writers see focus. Means exam oriented learning is not the good learning. By this you can get degree, a piece of paper only, but you do not get authentic knowledge. So that for the authentic knowledge we need, for the authentic knowledge we need what? We need skill based learning, we need vocational learning, so that we can generate critical and creative power. We can generate reasonable power, judging power, and everything we get if we follow the skill based vocational learning. That is the thing writer she says here in the essay. So we cannot judge, right? We cannot observe others properly because of this exam oriented knowledge. That is the thing she says. So she says that exam provides false sense of achievement. So we think that we get degree, and that degree is very important. We can do anything after getting that degree. But writer says that that is your false belief. Why false belief comes the question. All the people who pass the examination, who get the transcript and certificate, they do not have the capacity to engage, to use that knowledge in the real life. Okay, all the people who got the first division distinction marks in examination, they do not able to get success in their life because they do not have the capacity to deal. They do not have the critical knowledge, creative knowledge. So they get certificate only, but they do not have skill. They do not have any knowledge. Mm. Exam oriented learning is bad learning, not the proper learning according to the writer. So exam provide false sense of achievement. He says that false sense of achievement means that we think that exam gives a passing examination is everything, but according to writer, it is false. And our education is generating illusion in the name of degree, in the name of knowledge. Our education means present education that you are getting, that we are getting in Nepal, in South Asia, in the whole world. It is making us illusion. Either this may be virtual, it may be face to face, or whatever way you are learning, you are following to learn. Means that may be face-to-face learning in the classroom, or that may be like the virtual classroom that I am doing now, online classroom, whatever, in whichever pedagogy, in whichever way you adapt to learn. If you focus in examination only, not for the skill and not for the uh, okay vocational thing, if not for the knowledge, if you do not read for the knowledge, if you read for the examination to pass the examination, then you are in the illusion. And our content, our curriculum, and our education system, especially not our curriculum, our education system is making us illusion, leading us to illusion, because it gives degree, it gives certificate, but we are not able to hold our position after getting that degree. Because of that, exam oriented learning is not good learning. Young thinkers, they think that passing examination is everything, but writers, she thinks that passing examination does not make anything. That is the thing that writer says here. So exam oriented knowledge, exam oriented learning is just guided by study, exam, and pass, how to get a degree, how to get certificate. That is the only meaning of this examination oriented learning. Then then writers says that beside this, who is responsible for this? Then either young learners, they themselves are guided to exam, or our culture, our society, our thinking, our parents, our school, our teachers, they are responsible or not, comes the question. Of course, writers, she questions upon the parents, she questions upon schools, and questions upon the teachers, questions upon the society who desires the good marks in the examination of their children. So that students, they are compelled means force, they are forced to get the distinction, or they are forced to get the um, highest degree, highest percent in the examination. They are guided, they are forced to get the um, good marks in the examination. Not their parents ask them, you are just getting any skill after this, after learning this level or not. They do not ask. They ask, what is your marks? How much marks you obtain in this exam or you got in this examination? They ask the question. Because of that, young thinkers, they are misguiding, they are in the illusion. So writer says that parents, schools and students are responsible for this. Not only parents, schools are also competitive to okay, generate the students who get the highest mark in the examination. The teacher, they teach memory-based education. They force the student to memorize many things in the next to come and come to the next class. They tell that so that especially in the private sectors, private boarding schools, not only private, in the government aided schools or community schools also, what happens, students are forced, teachers, they force the students to secure the highest marks, and they compete that my student got this mark, it's in this position. But at last what happens, when they go to the job, when they practice that knowledge, they are failure, because they do not have the capacity, they do not have the reason, they do not have the reasonable capacity, critical and creative knowledge. So they don't encourage us to do creative work, skillful job. Our parents, our teachers, our society always always uh, always guide us uh, towards the bad way. They do not encourage us to follow the creative work. They do not encourage us for the skillful job. Rather, mark oriented they are. So ICT based knowledge sometimes can be false. Means our students are in illusion. You think that virtual learning, you think that online learning, whatever you get in the web by clicking www, whatever you search in the Google and other sites, you get many things. But students are illusion. All these things you get in the internet may not be right. Sometimes those materials may be false, but we blindly follow those materials. Our students, the young thinkers, they blindly follow those materials, and they um, follow those, and they bring good marks, they secure good marks in the examination, and they get the certificate. So how can this lead the person to the success? If they are learning, while learning they are getting false knowledge, how can they get success in their life, comes the question there. So we don't have the capacity to differentiate um, what is right and what is wrong. We do not have the capacity to judge what is right and to what is wrong. Okay, that is the thing. So what is right, this is the spelling I have, while typing I have got mistake, GIGST, and what is wrong. We are not our young thinkers are not able to judge either the thing I am following is right or the thing is wrong, so that it it leads the students to failure. And then what type of education is fruitful for the progress of us or our nation and government, comes the question. Writer asks the questions. Then if examination oriented knowledge is not good, it is making illusion upon the student's life, then what type of knowledge is required for them, what type of knowledge is good for them? Then she asks the question, and then uh, we can say that in the she talks of that skillful and vocational and practical education. She gives emphasis to skillful, vocational and practical education, which makes the student successful in life, which makes the student um, uh, creative, which makes the student critical, and that students can get success everywhere. Uh, that is the thing that right. Okay. Then if so, if so, uh, vocational education and practical education, we focus on that. It's two types: skillful education and practical education. Is effective for the students, for their creative knowledge, for their critical knowledge, and for their skills. सुनिएको छ मलाई? Hello?
हजुर
Yeah, are you listening? Because of the internet problem, there was disturbance. Are you listening me or not?
भर्खरै सुने सर राम्रो
हजुर सर
Okay, okay then. Screen share भएको छ कि छैन?
भर्खर त भएन सर
हैन? Okay,
केही पनि आएको छैन
okay. Okay then. Edit this. Did this slide. What type of education is fruitful? While talking about this, the writer says that the education, especially skill-based education, okay, skill-based education and practical education is effective for the students to make them reasonable, to find either that is right or wrong. She says that, and then leads to decision making. If they have the critical knowledge, if they have the creative knowledge, then that makes them that leads them to the decision making. That makes them reasonable. She says that it makes this type of education makes the student reasonable. This type of education makes the student
कता जानुभयो सर
सबै हराएछ भाइ कुन्ने लेटेस्ट भइरहेको के सरको काम गरिरहेन
अहिले सुनेको छ
हजुर
हजुर सर
नेट जानी आउने भयो के इन्टरनेट त्यस कारणले गर्दा यस्तो भएको so writers says that it leads to decision making if they have the skillful knowledge, then if they have the practical knowledge, if the teacher, if the parents, they lead the students to study practically, to study skillfully, not focusing on the examination but focusing on their life and for their career, then that type of education makes the students successful, young people successful in their life. So parents must create such environments. She says that parents role is very vital to make a decision where to lead their children, School's role is also very important, and parents role is also very important. Teachers role is also important. Society's role is also important. Means there should be culture of not focusing the examination but focusing the skill and the practice. Then this type of education system encourages students to take decision and choose right and wrong. If they follow practice-based education, skillful education, then they can at last they can find either they are in the right, either they are doing wrong. What they are doing means they will able to know right and wrong thing. They will able to know either they are in the good path or bad path, or they are able to know either they are following the good way or bad way. Means it makes them critical and creative, and it gives to take reasonable dialogue. Means they will start to talk. Means they will argue each other. They will give their reason, and they will able to talk about that reasonably. Means if someone says wrong, then they will say that they will give reason why that is wrong. Then what is right, they will talk about that. So brainstorming, this type of practical education always brainstorms there. Brainstorming means that makes this type of education compels them to brainstorm, use their mind. Okay, what happens, why, how, all types of questions come in their mind, and their brain gets exercised in another sense. Brainstorming means that they will use their mind for the education, and they will not memorize, rather they will ask question and try to solve that. No one is born talented. Practice leads to success, writer. She says that By born known is talented. Okay, by born known is talented, and a person becomes talent when a person becomes talent if that person's practice new and new things. If that person's use the mind, that person becomes successful and in the lives. It says that, and at the end of the essay, while concluding this essay, she says that exam based. The main purpose of this essay is that exam based knowledge is momentary. Momentary. The word momentary is here. The momentary means it is for short period of time. Okay, it is not long lasting. Momentary means very short. Means if you are focusing the examination and memorize the things, after examination you will forget, or after 1 year you will forget, and when you will go to job, you will not have any skill. You will not have any reasonable capacity. You will not have critical and creative mind. So that exam based education is bad education. Critical thinking in education is necessary. So focus on critical thinking and creative thinking. If we have critical thinking power, creative power, then we can get success in life. Everywhere we get success. Otherwise, we may be failures. So that we should have brainstorming. We should storm our brain, and critical thinking capacity we have to generate. Collaboration and problem solving in education. Education should be guided to problem solving. Means in the student, young learners should learn how to tackle the problem, how to solve the problem, how to collaborate. Collaborate means how to talk, how to share the ideas and take decision. That is the thing writer says. And then this type of education encourages to ask questions to solve the inner curiosity. Means inner curiosity. You may have different curiosities in your mind, and if you are exam-oriented students, you do not have curiosities. You follow either that is good or bad, that is right or wrong. You do not care. You memorize that. But the person, the student um, who follow the skill-oriented or practical education, they innerly they become curious. What, how, when, okay, these types of questions come in their mind, and then they lead themselves to get success, to solve those problems, solve those curiosities. So choice of books in the basis of age, level and time. Means students, they should choose. Parents also, they should encourage their students to choose the good books according to their time, according to their level. Level means class. Okay, which in which class the student is, in which age group the student falls, what knowledge that student is necessary. So the parents, teachers and school should help the students to choose the books on the basis of age, level, which level, at this time what type of book is necessary for that. Okay, at this situation what type of book is necessary for that student. So parents should be careful about this, and it helps to source, verify and justify. It means that student, they should this type of knowledge helps them to source, to justify the things in their life. Means how to make their life um, successful, how to make their how to make their career successful and career bold. This practical education, skill based education help them. So it helps to source their identity, source their we can say career, verify them. I'm wrong, I'm right, I'm following this, I'm following that. Why I am following this? There should be some reason. Yes, source, verify, justify means it makes them critical, it makes them creative in each and every field of their life. In each and every field of their life, they become critical and they become creative, and they lead themselves successfully in their life. Means their life becomes successful in all these ways, whatever they are following in their life. Means if they are getting the practical education, they get success in their life. uh, Telling this, writers say at last, main thing is that practical education is needed. Exam oriented education is it should be banned. That is the main voice of the writer in this text. So there is a question for you. Who do you blame for the poor state of education in Nepal and why? You have to be able to write. Who do you blame? You blame yourself, your parents, your school, your government.
School system.
Okay, in
Teacher,
which
teaching, learning.
whom you who blame? Why? Why you blame? You have to give the answer of this question after this. Okay, all these are for this class. If you have any queries regarding this, I think if you have any queries, please ask me. Otherwise, we have very 2 minutes time is here, 3 minutes is here. Just for if there is question, then you can share. Otherwise, we can leave. Do you have any question?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, did you understand then?
यसमा रिकर्डिङ गर्न मिल्दैन र
के गर्न?
रिकर्डिङ गर्न के
Of course, मिल्छ नि रेकर्ड गर्न त.
यो माथिको त क्लिक हुन्न है
रेकर्डिङ गर्न कहाँबाट मिल्छ भन्दा त्यो जुन स्क्रिन शेयर भन्दा यतापट्टि मोर भन्ने देखाएको छ नि.
हजुर सर
हजुर
त्यहाँ गएपछि भित्र पज रेकर्डिङ स्टप रेकर्डिङ रेकर्डिङ भन्ने हुन्छ के कहाँबाट हुन्छ
छैन सर
छैन है यसमा त सर
मोरमा के छ
रेज हाइड माई भिडियो इन ग्यालरी भ्यू हाइड नन भिडियो पार्टिसिपेन्ट हाइड नेम व्हेन पार्टिसिपेन्ट जोइन भन्ने छ
स्टप रेकर्डिङ पज रेकर्डिङ रेकर्डिङ भन्ने केही छैन
रिकर्डिङ भने यहाँ माथि स्क्रिनमा छ सर त्यसमा तर क्लिक गर्दाखेरि हुँदैन
र तिमीले के छ मोबाइल युज गरेको छौ कि ल्यापटप युज गरेको मोबाइल हो
मोबाइल
एक्चुअली हेरौँला है त मैले टेस्ट गर्छु हुन्छ कि हुँदैन त्यो स्टप हेयर भन्ने त ऊ त्यो चाहिँ स्टप भने अहिले मिटिङको हो बुझ्यौ नि
हजुर सर
रेकर्ड छ हैन त्यहाँ रेकर्डमा त हुनुपर्ने हो मैले एकचोटि हेरौँला र भोलि अर्को क्लासमा चाहिँ तिमीहरूलाई जानकारी दिउँला है त त्यसको बारेमा ओके देन
सर कति बजे त भोलि
भोलि
11 बजेदेखि गरौँ है सर
हुन्छ ल हुन्छ 11
11 बजे गरौँ सर भोलि
सर ठ्याक्क 11 बजे गरौँ के ठिक हुन्छ
ओके
ओके 11 देखि उसमा ठिक्क त्यति बेला ठिक्क टाइम हुन्छ
हुन्छ हुन्छ भइहाल्छ 11 बजेदेखि गर्ने हैन भोलि
हजुर सर
ल हुन्छ थ्यांक यू
ल हुन्छ सर
ल हुन्छ सर